Realize for people who've learned that people-pleasing mentality, finding the words and verbalizing them is the hardest part. And emotions actually get trapped in the body and cause ailments and pain if they're not released. And one of the most productive ways to heal, release these emotions is through creative endeavors.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Carmen Milagro, and you are once again tuned into Wellness 360. Now, as you know, the purpose of our mini coaching sessions is to guide you as we explore and we examine the truths about the multi-billion-dollar CBD and wellness industries, and whenever possible, spell the myths that we've been led to believe about our bodies, our minds, and our spirit. But we also want to help you expand your horizons and how you determine and supplement your health practices and view all aspects of your well-being, including your creative spirit. Because on this show, we're looking at ourselves through this 360 lens, and we hope to help you make more informed decisions. We want to highlight different people's experiences, their stories, their theories and principles that they believe in, that they practice, so that you have options to consider. Now, over the course of time, we're sharing with you as many diverse resources as possible, and today is absolutely no exception. We stated this in season 1, and we continue doing it here in season 2. Now, remember, make sure you always do your own due diligence and your own research on which stories resonate with you and which experts, coaches, or healers that you want to work with. Whether you choose to accept or reject the information we share with you, well, that's always up to you, as you are your best advocate to living your healthiest and most creative life. So, having said all that, let's jump right in, shall we? As a young girl growing up in Southern California, today's guest, Catherine Waldek, CEO of Pure Lux, a real estate staging company, had a fascination with fashion and design. And after 2 children and 10 plus years teaching elementary education, she began working as a staging assistant at a local company. It was there that she developed her love for staging, and she knew she had discovered her true calling. However, Catherine had been silently battling severe depression, anxiety, panic disorder, as well as an eating disorder. As a result of many years of abuse and trauma, Catherine sought treatment in every modality and soon learned that the path to true healing is never complete. It's a daily practice and it's a way of life. There is no magic pill, no special cure-all. The truth is, it comes down to the willingness to do the deep inner work of getting to know yourself and discovering what is right for you. And of course, I have to add in this section right here that I agree 100%. This is one of the areas of focus I spend a great deal of time on with my coaching clients. I believe knowing your true self is a critical component for creating a solid foundation for your best life. And for Catherine, her path has been in the form of creative expression, from dance and art to photography, writing, and of course, design. Virtually anything that expresses emotions in a nonverbal form is what has brought Catherine her greatest healing and sense of well-being. It's also given her the power and the drive to create a thriving business and support her family on her own. It's Catherine's hope to inspire others to discover themselves and find their joy in the most creative form possible. In today's session, this conversation is centered around one's creative well-being. And I'm honored and grateful that Catherine is here to spend some time with us. Welcome to Wellness 360, Catherine. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here and honored.
We appreciate you being here. And I have to say, first of all, thank you for being so open, so candid and honest about your wellness journey. I believe it takes a lot of courage. And then to be able to share that with others, I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a lot of sighs of relief in a lot of homes when our viewers realize that they're not alone.
I really appreciate that. It's been a long time for me living in more of silent suffering. And I've found that one of the key pieces to healing is being open and vulnerable. And it's through those connections you make unexpectedly with others that are suffering as well that I've come to realize there's purpose behind all this pain. And it's really such a beautiful thing to think that I might help someone else struggle.
Thank you. So that's the first thing that I just want to make sure that you receive that from me. But I'd also like to just kind of jump in and let's start with like a basic question, Catherine.
Right.
What is the term wellness specifically for you? What does that mean and why?
Yeah, wellness is, it's this beautiful kind of mystery, I almost want to call it, because I think it is, again, so different for everyone. And going back to what you mentioned in my bio, I think it starts with self-discovery and knowing yourself. And for me, what I've learned is wellness is when I'm in a place of balance and a place of peace. And that again is part of the journey, and it's a daily battle or practice, as I like to call it, because it requires an awareness of what your emotions are saying to you every moment of the day. And once you practice just being aware and allowing yourself to notice those feelings, you can then try to become detached from them and decide, are these positively affecting me or negatively affecting me? And then catch the ones that are negative and gently sort of reframe them to find some sort of maybe gratitude or hope in them. And that practice is what always brings me back to a sense of wellness.
I love that. I love that it isn't just about gratitude. I think a lot of people talk about that specifically, but the fact that you've now woven hope into this, I think
Mhm.
that's really beautiful. Thank you. Um, Catherine, you can you define creativity and what it means to you specifically to live the life of a creative? Why is this so critical to your well-being?
Yeah, that's actually, I would say it's almost a new discovery for me how truly essential that is to my well-being. Um, I think creativity is simply um, releasing control and allowing your imagination to come into play and take the reins. And it's such a beautiful, magical thing when you're able to do that because the most incredible things happen that are more than something I think we as humans could create when we're in control. And so for me, that's a lesson and a message I've continued to receive is just trust, let go and trust, let go and trust. And I found, especially in my business, when I try to maintain control of the creative process, it doesn't go well. When I'm trying so hard to decide what pillows should work with this art and so forth, I'm backing myself into a corner. When I allow it to unfold naturally and organically, the magic just happens and it's unbelievable. And that brings me to the state of well-being and peace.
Enjoy.
And joy,
Enjoy,
absolutely.
right? I love what you said about letting your imagination let it go, let using. I think that's something that a lot of adults tend to forget is
Mhm.
how important our imagination is. In fact, episode 6 of season 1, I actually do a whole thing about accessing your joy. So if you ever get a chance, and
Wow.
those of you who haven't seen it, go back to season 1, episode 6, how to access your joy. And I talk about specifically what you just talked about is using your imagination and reminding ourselves as adults to not lose that. Such a wonderful gift. So it really, I'm very excited to hear you and that you are doing this as well because I do believe that that is a part of our being able to not, there's such an emphasis on finding balance, right? I think it's more about, for me, it's more about seeking balance, knowing that it might be a little elusive at times,
Mm,
but it's part of that journey for me. That's what I think. So
absolutely.
thank you for highlighting that. Catherine, you shared with me, obviously, we have talked previously to this
Yeah.
chat. And so I not only met you and thought you were absolutely wonderful at an in-person event, but we've had some subsequent conversations, and you shared with me, some of the things that you have had been dealing with. And even though on the outside you were, the mom and the wife and the teacher, all of the things that were going on in the background, a lot of times, these symptoms of anxiety and all these other issues are not the root cause, right? So if you don't mind, are you able to share with us some of the root causes and how you discovered how to deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I mentioned, it is newer for me to open up. And I think most people in my life um, haven't been aware for a long time because it's something that I think our society has perpetuated as shameful. you know um and partly that's one of the beautiful things to come out of the pandemic is this awareness of the importance of mental health and to not be afraid to admit that you are struggling. And I think that was something that gave me to the courage to make a lot of changes in my life. I've almost very abruptly left a nearly 15-year marriage that was extremely abusive and unhealthy. And I didn't even quite understand why I was doing it. I just knew it needed to happen. And I knew my body was falling apart as a result of the pain I was suffering. And once I made that decision, it took me to a very deep soul searching place. And I uncovered so many memories that were hidden of childhood traumas,
Sure.
and realized, wow, what led me to this abusive marriage is an abusive parent. That was all familiar for me. And the more I dug into it, the more I realized a huge cause of my anxiety was when you are in relationships or when people in your life are, maybe narcissistic and abusive and have these certain very challenging personality traits. As a coping mechanism, I learned to quiet myself, to shut myself down, to be a people pleaser because the other option was anger, chaos, and your voice is never heard. And so I had to reintroduce myself to myself because
Sure.
I had no idea who I was because I'd lived my entire life pushing my own feelings and emotions and thoughts away. And once I found a place, and you have to feel safe in order for that to come forward,
Sure.
um, it it's unreal. It is really, I think of that movie with Julia Roberts. I think she has like 15 weddings or the Runaway Bride.
Mhm. I remember.
Right? And she's sitting there and she makes all different kinds of eggs and
Right.
she's trying to figure out, I think I like scrambled. I mean, it's funny, but that's what happens. You have to relearn who you are and have the self acceptance and believe in yourself and trust that I am fine the way I am, no matter what anyone else says. And it's a hard place of self love to achieve, but it's the most beautiful thing imaginable. And it truly releases this pain.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for being so open again and so candid about this, because I think sometimes a lot of people like those personality traits that you mentioned, narcissistic, those types of people, many times they confuse kindness with weakness,
Oh, yes.
perpetuate, right? This philosophy that if you're kind, you're weak, and then it can turn into, within ourselves, it can turn into this inner dialogue of well, I must be because that person is
Yes.
saying that I am. And then
Yes.
it's the doubt and all of that. And it's that, and if you are kindness, I think sometimes, a lot of times, will go hand in hand with wanting to be of service to other people. But then if that's viewed as a weakness, it's this endless spiral, right? Of just constant self doubt for oneself. And I
Yes.
love what you said is that now this place is so beautiful for you, right?
Mhm.
And for anyone who can get there,
Yeah.
whether they do it on their own or whether they get some help, whatever that help looks like, needs to look like for them. But getting there, when you get there, it's so beautiful. Why would you want to leave?
It oh my gosh, it really truly is, and it's, part of the getting there, what I especially, how it all ties into my business is that I realized for people who've learned that people pleasing mentality, finding the words and verbalizing them
Sure.
is the hardest part. And emotions actually get trapped in the body and cause ailments and pain if they're not released. And one of the most, uh, productive ways to heal, release these emotions is through creative endeavors such as art and dance and design. So it's my business has in the end healed me or helped in it.
Well, that's wonderful. And I know that in the interest of time, we're going to start wrapping this up. But, you know, and again, thank you for just sharing such this deep level of insight is really, I think, again, going to actually inspire and help people. So thank you again. But
Course.
how has your creative flow? Well, no, let me put it another way. Do you see a specific correlation or a specific feeling between your creativity, your confidence, your mindset, and your emotional and spiritual well-being?
Oh my goodness. It couldn't be more clear, the connection, to be honest. And I'm someone who was raised in the Greek Orthodox Church, very religious upbringing. While I always felt I had this connection to God or something more, I felt great fear and actually a lot of anxiety with regards to my relationship. And it's kind of bizarre but beautiful thing that happened through my divorce is I felt pulled away from the church for some reason and I wasn't sure why. And yet my own personal connection to the beyond, to the universe, whomever you believe in, instantly ignited. And I became so grounded and connected and realized that once I got out the middleman, I had a direct line to these beautiful guides and people that are actually showing me the path to a beautiful life. So it's pretty incredible.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that we've been able to spend this time together. And before I let you go, though, somebody may want to reach out to you. They may want to talk to you about business, but they also may want to reach out and connect with you. And if you're open to that, and if you're open to sharing how they can do that, I'd love to just have you just share with us how they can connect with you.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, I truly feel a calling to help others. And I think that's helped me heal and makes it all worth it. So I would love for someone to reach out to me. My website is www.purelux, PURELUX, staging, STAGING.com. Or you can email me directly, Catherine with a C dot Waldek at gmail.com. And I would love to, help support anyone who relates.
Right. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I have to say, I love your background, beautiful, bold, vibe and the colors.
you.
I can see why you were able to find your calling in what you do.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes,
Thank you,
it's
Catherine.
enjoyable. But thank you. This has been such a pleasure and an honor. And I'm so grateful just to know you, but
Oh,
to have this platform to reach out to anyone is truly a gift.
thank you so much, Catherine. I'm sure I'll see you again. Thank you.
I hope so.
Sure. And to everyone, thank you again for tuning in to Wellness 360. I'm Carmen Milagro. As you know, the whole purpose of what we're trying to do here is to reach out and let you know that you are not alone, that there are people who care, that can help. And again, if this is opening up the door for you to take maybe just your first step of consideration of trying to seek help or talk to someone, I hope that this has been as inspiring for you as it is for me. I'm so lucky that I get to do and have these chats with incredible people. I learn something new every single time. And for me, it's a blessing and an honor. So thank you to Catherine Waldek again from Pure Lux Staging. And, again, for all things Carmen Milagro, stay tuned at the end of this episode. There's a QR code. You can check out my website. You can join us on all the socials. You'll find us out there under Wellness 360 with Carmen Milagro. And that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time.